Meanwhile, in Broomtown again, today I want to graft some apple trees, um, and I'll show you a little bit about what I got and a little bit about why. Um, I like to graft trees that are hard to find because if it's trees that are easy to find, it's just a lot simpler to buy them. But what we found out is the red delicious, the golden delicious, the honey crisp, those type, um, they don't grow as well as you would imagine here. So I guess we're slow, but we found some varieties that work. And like I said, you'll never find a yellow Hamilton or a Carter's Blue, which are the two that we have today in a store. Um, so I'm grafting my own. All right, one of the things I wanted to show you before I get started is rootstock. I ordered rootstock specifically for these. Um, this is how they come. You buy a certain size, diameter to match the diameter of your sign. And best practice is to use this immediately. And I wasn't able to do that. So the trick, I think, is to never let these roots dry. So I put them in a grow bag, backfilled them with dirt, and I've kind of kept them parked for not long. They put this much growth on in about a week. So as we get grafting, we'll strip them, get all that greenery off, and do our graft. But I did want to show you what rootstock looks like when you get it. All right, I collected this some time back. It's one of the nice things about doing your own apple cuttings or scion wood is what I guess it's professionally called. But I double bagged them and you collect them, and I wrapped them in a paper towel that's damp, not wet, but damp. The trick is to not let these run out of moisture, not let them dry out, but don't let them rot either. So there's my signs, and we're going to marry them to the rootstock. And I'll do them separately because I have a really hard time of getting crap mixed up, and this helps me. I'll do these, then I'll come back and do the other variety. The reason I didn't pull them out and use them one at a time is because they were still bound together. But we'll kind of fan these out. Take a look. I want to try as best I can to match the diameter of the rootstock to the diameter of my cutting. The type of rootstock is, maybe we can zoom in on there. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anakavuka. Antonovka. That sounds like it's Russian, doesn't it? But anyway, I ordered it from these folks. It looks fantastic. Let's see about this one. You can see there's a lot of fresh roots. It looks good. One of the true things that I regret is my granddad used to graft. My mother's father grafted everything. And as a kid, I was with him pretty much continuously. And when I was a kid, I didn't pay a lot of attention to, I don't want to say I didn't pay attention to what he was doing, because I did, but, I wish I had him to answer questions for me now, I guess is the way that is what I mean by that, because that man could graft everything. He could grow anything, but he was really good at this. And I've really tried to do this and get good at it, because, well, for a lot of reasons, about things we've talked about already. But wouldn't it be nice to have you be able to go back and, as a child, um, do the things that you wish you'd remembered now? So, whatever reasons, we're going to make an attempt to do some grafting on our own. I don't know if you can zoom in. You see how that's been in the refrigerator probably 2 months, and it's still super green. So that's good. And I could have cut that off a little shorter, but I'm a kind of inexperienced, and what I'm saying is, if I mess up, I got a little bit more to cut down to. Um, Maybe someday I'll get really, really good, and I won't have to do that. Knives. There are knives, and I've used this, and you can watch grafting videos, but I'll slice this and I'll slice that, and then I'll match them together. One thing I did learn, and I guess if I had done this years and years, I wouldn't have had a problem, but I found this guy in Houston who has made these. I won't go as far as inventing because I don't know. But these things are fantastic. They lay in here, and you can lay your pieces, use your knife, and cut it, and it gives you the absolute perfect angle. So for an inexperienced guy like me, I'm going to use the tools that I've been able to find, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, we're going to attempt this. That kind of fits in the groove. It's nice. It's got a stop, and it's kind of got a place for me to cradle my hand and hold everything, so that you don't want to cut yourself. That's always a big fear for me and everybody else, especially starting out. But use this as a guide. You can see how I lay, and that doesn't let the cut go any deeper. And it uses, when you can't cut anymore, you know that you're done because you're inside that groove. See here, it fits that guide just perfect. And that's allowed me to not cup it or not cut it too short. I like this little tool. And then we'll lay our piece of sign wood in here also. Kind of run it around, roll it till I get it where I want it, where it's holding. And do basically, it jumped. Do the same thing with this. And multiple passes seem to work better for me than trying to get it all in one. I know folks that graft for a living probably scoffing and saying this is not useful, but for me this has been a useful little tool. See, I'm even here, and take your root and take your other, and these things I couldn't do that well free-handed. I might could do that well, in a few years free-handed, but I can't I couldn't ever do this right now. So I like these guides. Perhaps someday I won't need them, but today I do. So, all right, the next thing I'm going to do is get me a rubber band, cut it, and I'm matching these two together, and I got to make sure that I have cambium layer to cambium layer. And even if they're slightly different, we looked out, these are good. As long as you got one side that you can line up, you're good. So I'm making sure we're really good on that flat side. And then we're going to take this rubber band. I am checking. As I wrap it to make sure that I got cambium layer matched up, and I do. So now we're to the end of our rubber band, and that's kind of like tying a balloon. Maybe if I had a little bitty fingers, that would be better. But that's pretty good wrap joint, and that keeps it tight. And then to keep it moist from drying out, I want to use this paraffin tape. It's it's I don't know how to describe it. It's wax is what it is, and we'll start below the joint. When you pull it, see how it stretches, and it just forms a nice waterproof layer over your joint. So we kind of got it twice. We got it sealed from moisture, and we got the rubber band, providing mechanical. I didn't get off enough here to do the whole thing, should have, but I didn't, so I'll have to go and get me another piece because I want to wrap this all the way. So this, this top part, I don't want this part to dry out. This part won't dry out because he's roots, but this part might. I've kind of determined that I got too much on the sign part, so I'm going to make sure I got a couple of buds, and then I'm going to cut it. And that's still probably too long, but it's what I have. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this by any stretch of the imagination, but I did want to make a video showing you, that I was doing it. And some of you folks that are great at this, I don't mind you leaving me comments and saying, you could have done better if you'd have done it this way or that way. So we're almost to the top. You'll see I kind of fold that over, and then as I'm wrapping, I'm pulling. So that gets us one. Just a few more to go. But I did want to show you how I do these, and I may show you a couple more. The next step in this magical mystery tour is to get them in the dirt, and that's pretty self-explanatory. I just take and start, and then the trick with these is to never let the roots dry out because they'll die. You don't want your rootstock dying on you. So I happen to have one of these watering cans handy, and it'll go from that watering can straight into the dirt, and then we'll let them sit here for ever how long it takes to see if my graft was viable. See if I did in essence, see if I did a good job. The trick on some of these, if they were all perfect like you see in a lot of videos, I'm sure, and I understand that, people go to a lot of trouble to make it look not easy, but they want to have a really high success rate. So it's perfect. Some of my signs were not the same diameter as my rootstock. So as long as you have one side of the cambium touching, it's supposed to take. So a couple of these we're really going to test that theory because the rootstock was probably 2/3 and the sign wood was probably, not half, but close to half the diameter. So I slid them over to the side pretty far to make sure that I had cambium on cambium layer. All right, that's it. He's ready. He's labeled so I don't get him mixed up. And we'll see who grows. Next on the menu is yellow Hamilton. The reason that I chose these two is they're, I don't know if the proper word is indigenous, but they are these really old heritage apples. They grew in Alabama, were marketable in Alabama, probably, up until about the 1920s and the 1930s. As transportation got better in the world, the need for local grown changed. And while, a yellow Hamilton looks just like a golden delicious, maybe it doesn't produce, but 60% of the apples that a golden delicious was. And if you're in the apple business and you got refrigerated cars now and you can transport them anywhere in the world, these kind of plants didn't win out. But for our purposes, I don't want to be a commercial grower, and I really don't. The spraying regimen, if you're planting nursery trees, popular trees, it's extensive. It's you have to look up sometimes somebody's spray guide because it's amazing how much they spray. And I don't have the inclination or the desire to do that. So if these only produce 60% as many apples as a commercially viable tree, but I don't have to, baby it and spend hours and hours and chemicals, I'm good with that. Kind of my theory on that is plant 3 times as many as you want and it'll work out. So that's why I'm going to all this trouble to graft and go buy rootstock and and all that. It's not, when I say it's to get the varieties that I want, it's not a, that's why I do this, but it's not to get what's popular. It's not to get what's posh or bougie or any of those other. It's to actually get something that maybe is viable here. So that's a long dissertation on the Yellow Hamilton. I don't know if he's any kin to Alexander or if they named him after that, but that's what we're planting today, or grafting. We're grafting them today. Here's the aftermath. Little pieces of apple tree everywhere, but there's not a lot of waste in this. I guess that's the point, isn't it? But this is a fun project. Would I do this all the time? No. If you can find the kind of fruit tree that you want in the store, and it's $30 or $50 or whatever, is that more cost effective? Probably so. I got $10 a piece in the rootstock, and the sign wood I don't have anything in. I collected it off of the trees that I already have, and as we said before, my time's free, so that's not a factor. But it's a lot to go through. There's several. This is not an instantaneous deal. You have to do this in stages. The sign wood is available a little earlier, like 2 or 3 months, than the rootstock from a nursery, and so you got to store it, like I've showed you before, wrapped in moist paper and in a Ziploc bag and in the refrigerator. And so there's some staging to it, I guess is my point. So if you just want an apple tree, go to Lowe's or go to Home Depot or go to a nursery. I shouldn't have said brand names, but if there's a specific one that you want, for the aforementioned reasons, don't be afraid to try this. It seems like a lot, but it wasn't a lot. The best thing that I've purchased is strictly by chance from this little fella in Houston, Texas. And I'm old, and I was skeptical about Zealand money or not PayPal, but I think it was Zelly, and I'd never done that. So there was a learning curve there too. I had personal growth in trying to get these, but for a non-professional, these are the deal. I can't call his name off my head, but maybe I'll put in the comments his contact information should you be interested in that. That's the best money I spent so far on grafting. That's all I've got. I guess I can take you around there and we'll get them watered in. That's the last step in this journey, and then we'll wait. That's always the roughest part, is waiting for them to see if the grass took. So let's go do some watering. Let's water these in. A lot of water. Doing two things here. Obviously hydrating them, but I'm also removing the air bubbles from around the roots. Roots don't like to be left out in the air. So this is the why. If we can zoom back, you can see all the crap on this is my nursery table. These are my projects for the year. So I've got apple trees on the back, and I just repotted some of these grapes and figs and all kind of fun stuff. I'm about out of room. That's all I've got for this episode. Let me take just a couple of seconds to show you couple of months later after those were grafted, and how well they took. I don't think I lost but 2 of them, so that's really good odds. And here's how they look. They look great. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you would, take a second to hit the subscribe button for us. It helps us a lot. I appreciate it.